buildings are alive, heritage is alive. So there are things that you cannot convey with just simple descriptions. So we decided to have stories about it. I think what really arrested my heart, and I love Cairo specifically, was that it made me think of São Paulo when I was a child.
And I think that's what made Zaman is to me and to Nuzia and to Vicente. We all left our home countries and our families, and we come to Egypt and we find them again.
I'm Luciana Carvalho. I'm a property developer, heritage scientist and conservator based at the University of Oxford, and I'm also the principal instigator of Beit Zaman. I moved to the UK in 1999 after graduating in chemistry, and my first holiday was to Egypt, and I fell in love with Egypt. And on my return to the UK, I studied Egyptology, and I wanted to work in Egypt. And since graduating Egyptology, I studied conservation, 2 masters, and environment and economic development, a master's, and recently a PhD in archaeological science. I've worked in Wesna, Comelacma, Benida Beni Salama, Nakada, so these were all related to archaeological heritage, and in Rashid with the Ottoman heritage, and now Beit Zaman. So this started in 2019 when I was here as part of Dr. Joanne Rowland's project, Earliest Egypt, and we were working in the Pyramid of Nubt. And I was staying in the village of Turk, and after work I would go around walking in the city, and then I discovered this mud brick architecture. Personally, I was fascinated by the arabesque decorated balconies. So these are balconies with wooden screens with special cutouts, and in particular the masharabiyas. And then I had a visit to Nakada, accompanied by the other collaborator of the project, Amgad. And we were walking around, and then I saw even more of this mud brick architecture. And there was a sense of awe at the different styles of architecture. There was a mixture of European and Islamic, and some other features that I couldn't really identify. So within that 2019 season, I went around with Farouk, stopping and taking some photographs, and not only in the cities, but also on some of the mud brick architecture that I saw in the villages, to one day come up with a project about that. So Nunzia, La Rosa, and I discussed this, and also with Vicente Saldanha. How could we create a project of documentation, because none really existed until that point. But that also would touch in this point. And the only people who could support us was the American Research Center in Egypt, of which I have been a member for some years. And we wrote a project with this basic idea of creating the first photographic record, not of all buildings, but with the different types of buildings in 3 cities which are connected historically and geographically, Nakada, Kift, and Kus, to try to show this and alert people about this heritage. So initially it was a project about the documentation of the facades. We were going to put some of these images, 100 images, in an archive in Oxford, and the importance aspect of those images is that they were going to be geolocated, so people in the future can go back to the exact same spot and take that photograph and measure change, and see if the buildings still survive or not. And we would then put these photographs into a booklet, because you cannot guarantee that the digital technology will be preserved. And I initially suggested to my team, let's each pick a house that we visited and write what that experience meant to us. A lot of people like Egypt because it's so different. There is this spiritual connection. But also in Akada, we feel, and I saw it over and over, that there is a photograph that Lucia says, Luciana, that's your grandmother's photograph. Because there is a lady pushing a trolley. And in one of the places that we visited, we would go there and have a look around, given permission. And I found a kitchen cabinet. It was exactly the same as my grandmother's. And I think those who have been blessed to have nice grandmothers will always have these memories. We are very kind towards our grandmothers. I think it's very important to understand that we are not telling anyone that these things should be preserved as such. We would like them to be preserved, would like them to be preserved as they are now, not restored or changed in any way, certainly not turned into a museum. But we know this is difficult, but certainly I think that people, when you look at someone else, looking at something that you never noticed before, it makes you question, but why are people here taking photos of this? Oh, maybe there is some value in here. So according to her, there was a change in their eyes. Well, we hope so.